All right. I hope you can this will work right now. So this guy, Gabor, Dr. Gabor Mate, he is like a he's a doctor, but he's I think specializing on a trauma. He was basically saying that everything that we um, encounter in daily life, and if we struggle in daily life, or even if we have some kind of disease, it has all it has all to do with our childhood. So all of the things, the negative things that we encounter in our daily life, our interaction with coworkers, with our even in if you have a family like me, I have a son who is already like 16 years old, and it's kind of I have this kind of like I don't know, like I would say like angry feeling, or like I think I'm kind of like jealous being him, you know. Um, I- and I'm still processing it right now. That kind of feeling, and I think has to do with my childhood, that I was not being brought up in a more like a healthy way. But basically, he was saying like many of the problems that we have in our social life, or even in our the disease that we have, it has to do with our kind of traumatic childhood. Although my childhood is not as traumatic as him, uh, but I have kind of a traumatic childhood because when I was growing up, when I was small, and I remember my dad is not there. He's like just working the whole time, like in the restaurant business. Is just busy opening up a restaurant, and then my mom is also working. So I'm kind of just like left with my own devices, um, which is not so bad, as compared to the other like doctor. I think Doctor uh, Gabor Mate. He have a more kind of traumatic childhood. I think he was like given to like a stranger because he was like during the civil like a World War II, and then he was like given to a stranger when he was really young, something like that. So anyway, so let's hear it.
There's no questions. It's not possible. What is possible is that you do have a question or a comment, but there's something inhibiting you from asking it. And just stay with that for a moment. Now, what is inhibiting you from asking it is usually a story, which is that if I ask a question, I will look stupid. Or,
So how many of you have that kind of fear when you are in a public like this, or in a meeting, that you don't want to ask questions? And he was saying basically every time we want to ask question, and the reason why we don't ask that questions many times, many times, including me, because we have fear. And what is that fear? For me, it's like a fear that I don't know, that people will judge me, people will say something, oh, that's a stupid question to be asked. Uh, and he was arguing that actually, when you try to analyze why you have that fear, like me, for example, I'm just giving to myself um, that I'm afraid that people will judge me, and I'll feel anxious about that, so I don't ask the questions. I can trace that back in my childhood when probably when my mom, because I was literally like raised just by my mother, because my father is just busy with the restaurant. Um, and she used to like like not nice to me because I know that she's feeling stressed. So I had that negative relationship or negative emotions toward my mother, right? And I think it has to do with that, right? So he was like saying, oh, and I think she also used to say that, oh, you're not good enough, like who do you think you are, something like that. So those kind of narrative, those kind of stories that we keep on, it's just playing in our head over and over again. So every time we want to do something and we somehow trigger that story that's saying, okay, I'm gonna look stupid, I better not ask this question, right? So it goes back to the childhood. So yeah, let's listen
I'm
more.
going to make myself vulnerable if I ask a question.
So it's saying make
I'll
myself
reveal something
vulnerable.
about myself that I don't want people to know. I don't want to look bad. Now, if so those are two possibilities. Either everything I've said is so totally clear to you that you got no question at all, or everything I said is so dense that it makes no sense whatsoever, and you don't know begin what to ask. Okay, those are two possibilities. The third possibility is that there is something there that you'd be interested in, but there's something stopping you, and what's stopping you is those beliefs or something like that. Now, if that is the case, here's an opportunity for you. If you have a belief or an inhibition that if I ask a question, I will be exposing myself, or if you have the belief that if I ask a question, I may look stupid, or might look ignorant, or I might not be able to formulate it in a way that sounds reasonable. If you have those concerns, here's an opportunity to work with it, because those concerns have nothing to do with the present. They actually have to do with the past. If you have those concerns, you're actually still being controlled by what happened to you when you were 3 years old and your parents made you feel like you're stupid. Where your parents made you feel that you're bothering them, that you're wasting their time because they're so busy and so stressed, so you shouldn't be intruding on them with your particular concerns. If you have those kind of beliefs in you, and a lot of us do, then that means we're still controlled by the past, decades later. So this is not, I'm quite comfortable with you not having any questions whatsoever. I can certainly handle it, and I don't need you to have any questions. But I can tell you that if you have those concerns, it's an opportunity for you to recognize that and possibly to transcend it. But that's always your choice. It's totally your choice.
So that's the key to transcend it. It's easier said than done because I've been living that kind of fear for many, many years, right? I'm gonna be 50 this year, but I'm getting better. I'm still learning about myself, but um, the key is to be able to transcend, and that moment will, I think, will come. It's not so easy, you cannot just tell people that okay, you need to transcend that right now or today or tomorrow, because sometimes when the emotion is really strong, depending on how your, again, it's going back to our childhood, how strong is that negative emotion we experience in our childhood, then it's not so easy to transcend that negative emotions, right? For my experience, it was quite difficult. It takes many, many years, and but it's getting there. I'm getting easier and easier for me to say things in the public and not just being afraid. I still have that kind of moments, that narrative playing in my head when I'm talking to people. Oh, am I saying this like stupid, or am I doing it the wrong way, or okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, or am I doing, who do you think I am, all of those negative narratives that I keep on saying to myself, right? But think about it like this. You can reframe it like this. If you ask a question, right? If you first, you're afraid to ask that question, right? Because of the childhood um, experience. But think about it like this. If you ask the question, you are kind of sharing it to the world, your point of view, or your pain, and at the same time you are also trying to transcend your pain, your childhood negative experiences, right? By sharing your point of view, by asking questions, you are actually kind of, the way I see it, is contributing uh, to the world, right? We cannot live on our own, right? We have to share things to the world, so in order to progress, right? Just imagine if everybody doesn't want to share stuff, right? Doesn't want to share their ideas or doesn't want to share things that they build. Like for example, if you make cookies, you're good making food, you don't want to share it, right? Then the world becomes so boring and becomes stagnant. So think about it's like okay, you're feeling like afraid right now. One thing that probably you can do is take a deep breath. So you're kind of like a little bit grounded, not, probably it's not gonna disappear like everything your fear, but it's you're gonna make yourself a little bit grounded, and then you think about yourself that you are actually doing this not just for yourself but also for other people because you're gonna share your ideas, even though that's a questions, right? And then you're gonna also like give an example to other people. Look, probably my question is really stupid, but people will see that oh that guy or that woman is asking question and it looks stupid but actually it's fine, so by doing that you are also setting a role model for other people to be brave, and at the same time you yourself you are practicing yourself to be brave, and once you can do that over and over, and just trying to be loving with your narrative, because probably every time you want to say something, that narration in your head will keep on playing. Hey, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are? Like, you don't have any degree, or all sort of negative emotions or fear will come. But if you just like, okay, say to yourself like this, okay, I I admit you are there, fear, and this is from my childhood because probably because my dad or my mom said this is not nice thing to me. I recognize, I acknowledge you are there. Um, I am loving to you, but I want to transcend you. I don't want to be dictated by this feeling or by this narration. So I want you to just step aside. You're just like talking to a person in that sense, right? So that's my message for today. Be yourself. I know it's easier than done, but uh, hopefully that helps. Thanks for listening. See you next time.